Hey guys, this is Jason from Overhype Studios, and today we are finally able to show you the new Barbarian faction in a fight. So I have prepared a little setup with all the new Barbarian units, or most of them, and our battle brothers over here, who also wear some of the new weapons that we can showcase in this fight. So we will see how this plays out, and I'm very excited about it. Let's first start off with some of the new weapons you can use as a player. For one, we have the Barbarian, which is a mix of a greatsword and a great axe. So it has the split skill and the split man from the great axe, which is a tier 3 weapon. Then we have the Shamshir. It's a mix of a sword and a cleaver, so it's a saber. It has the slash of the sword with the percent to hit chance bonus and the decapitate of the cleaver. And a completely new and unique weapon is the Battle Whip, which is used as a very early game weapon, but you can use it in the late game as well because it has a very unique skill. For one, it has the whip skill that does a double stack of bleeding damage, and it also has the ability to disarm an enemy, so basically knock the weapon out of his hand for one turn. Which gives it really high utility. And we will try to use the whip on some of these enemies, the more dangerous ones, to try and stall their attack a little bit. The Battle Whip is very, very bad against armor, so you have to make sure to hit naked people, or you also have to only attack enemies that don't wear any armor anymore. So I'm just gonna wait the first turn to give the Barbarians the start. And over here you can see all the new Barbarian units that we have in the game. It's the front line, we have the Thralls, which are the very basic infantry unit of the Barbarians. And they are equivalent to the Bandit Thugs. They have very light armor or no armor at all. And in the Barbarian society, these are unfree, so some of them may have been captured in combat, or some of them are born unfree, and fighting is one of the ways to establish themselves in the barbarian society and finally get the freedom to ascend into the next rank of the barbarian society, which is the society of the free people. And that is the second line of infantry we have here. We have the Barbarian Weavers. So these are free people, not necessarily professional warriors, but they could be craftsmen, or maybe they have seen some combat, but they have a lot more experience than the Thralls. Usually they are a bit older, and many of them wear battle tattoos. You can't see them that much because of the helmets, but tattoos of their deeds and their stories. And they use weapons and armor that have been carried down in their families for ages. So they are quite battle hardened. But they are not as experienced and fierce as the chosen we have over here. These are professional warriors, and they have been chosen by their ancestors, and they live for fighting, and they are extremely dangerous. They have massive weapons. Most of them use two-handed weapons, or all of them actually. And usually these weapons have been passed down by generations, or they have been gained through defeating extraordinarily dangerous enemies. So these will just live to fight and wear very heavy armor and take a lot of punishment before they go down. So what I was going to try here is move over there on this little hill for an advantageous position with the two-hander. So here's the Battle Whip, and another very, very special thing about the Battle Whip is its 3-range tile. It's the only melee weapon in the game that has a 3-range tile. Now this guy here has a throwing spear. He wants to destroy my shields. Maybe I can try and disarm him with just a 50% chance, so he doesn't get a chance to destroy my shield. Unfortunately, I missed this one. We're just gonna move up and try and knock down the first enemies. Just like so. We also have in our inventory the new Hound, which is a stronger variant of the War Dog. It has a higher damage and can take a little bit more punishment, but also the Hound is rather slow compared to the War Dog. I'm gonna move up with this guy on the hill, so because he has a mace and he can stun the enemies, and that's what I'm going for. I want to use this war pick against the chosen because they are heavily armored. Put up the shields. Just gonna try to tank this throwing spear over there. So move up here. The line is closed with the brushes over here. And move up the archers like so. And I think we're gonna use the guy with the bardike over here. Maybe they stack up in front of him so we can get some nice split attacks. Move behind the front line, focus on this guy. So the barbarians like to use adrenaline to get the first round of combat. You just saw that there. And also the champions use it to get the edge on you. Now, what do we do here? The Bardike has the split ability. I could hit these two, that would be really good. Chance is just 62, but I think I just take the chance. Well done, that was a really good hit. Just outright killed the thrall. And one new thing you can see here is the throwing axes. They have heavy and throwing axes and heavy javelins. You cannot buy these in cities, but you can pick them up from the barbarians. They're a bit more damage, do a little bit more damage than the usual throwing weapons. You just saw the barbarian drummer in action, and they beat the drums to reduce the fatigue of all the barbarian units, which can be really good for them, as they need a lot of fatigue for their adrenaline and also for the barbarian fury that they use to change position during combat. This would have been really good if I killed this guy, but no luck. There he goes. Luckily, Elmer is a shield expert, so he managed to tank that throwing spear. Regarding the weapons, you can see they have a variety of new weapons to come, besides the throwing weapons. For one, they use these very simple weapons like a cleaver made from an antler, or a club made from a bear paw. But they also use more sophisticated weapons like this one. This is an axe hammer, so it does a lot of armor damage, but at the same time it can split shields. Maybe I should move up for the split opportunity here. That was really good. Okay. We could move back, but also with a greatsword you want to make use of the swing ability. So if they move up, I can use it. I can use the swing to hit 3 people. Now they are shifting their forces north, which can be a bit tricky. Try to wither down the armor of this one. Wow, that was a really good hit. That was lucky. Now the chosen are moving to the front. This is a war cleaver, so he used the Bavarian Fury to exchange position and to attack in the same turn. This is a war cleaver that's a bit like a war brand, so it can attack 2 times in a row, which can cause really devastating damage. Now I think I'm gonna go for the disarm again. We have 60%, or maybe we can finish off this guy. And I think I'm gonna go for the disarm on this one. It's just 58%. And it was successful. So now you can see his weapon disappeared. He's not actually dropping the weapon on the floor, but he's disabled for 1 turn. And then we can also use a simple attack. If we hit his head, we're gonna do an insane amount of bleeding damage. Unfortunately, we hit the armor, and as you see, very, very little damage. Just kill this guy, and should I move up? I think I'm just gonna hold the line. I'm fine over here. Put up a shield wall, hold the line. Like so. I'm just gonna wait for them to come to me. No shield wall necessary back here. Gonna try and save up as much fatigue as possible. The Shamshi is a really good weapon, but it has a very low armor effectiveness, so it's the worst weapon you can have against the Barbarian Chosen, obviously. Stay in the back with the Bardak because Vigald has very light armor and I don't want him to get messed up early. Just gonna wait out for them, so they're preparing the next round. That was a really smart move of him, bypassing my troops and get on the high ground with this a spiked mace it is. It's a two-handed mace that can stun and daze. It's a very dangerous weapon. And unfortunately Elmer already lost his shield. Shall I advance? No, I'm just gonna stay here. Same with him. I can try something. I'm gonna move over here and try to push him off the ledge. Unfortunately, I don't have the fatigue or the action points to move up, but at least he lost a bit of a momentum there. Luckily, they didn't hit Elmer with the throwing spears. Now they did. We're whittling down our armor with their skills. And of course, all the new weapons, like the Bardak and also the enemy weapons, that was a hit that I really didn't need. Eberhold is in a very tight spot right now, so this Chosen is still at full health and I have to get rid of him. Let's try and go for a headshot over here. I injured him, so the injuries are really helpful against the Barbarians because they have very high hit points. Picking crippling strikes can be a very helpful thing. And thus reducing their combat effectiveness while they are still living. So now we're gonna try and get some shots out. That was really good. Same over here, like so. As you can see, this Chosen with the two-handed axe did massive amount of damage. That was a headshot, of course, and Eberhold is pretty close to getting killed here. I would try to rotate him out with Wilhelm, but first of all I need to land a hit, maybe on this guy. That was a good hit. And bring out the War Dog just to scare them off a little bit, or maybe to divert some attacks from them. And as I was saying before, all the new weapons will have name variants that you can find. And we also added new champions to all enemy factions, and these champions will wear named items that you can get from them, and have increased stats. So it can be a very interesting thing to run across these kind of mini bosses in your campaign. So now I can use the military pick to get down his armor, or not. And we have a whip. Do we have somebody with very low armor around here? This guy maybe. I can give it a try. Fortunately we are fatigued. I'm very concerned about Eberhold. This guy is stunned, so I don't have to worry about him. Now it's time for rotation. If I had the fatigue for it, this is not a very good thing. I think I have to recover, regain some fatigue, and hope that Eberhold will make it through the next turn. If this Chosen hits him on the head with his rusty great axe, then he will probably die. So this is another variant of the Barbarian weapon, is a rusty great axe, which works very similarly to the great axe that the player has. The difference between all the Barbarian weapons and the player weapons, or the regular weapons, is that they do a little less base damage due to the crude qualities, but at the same time they do more direct damage. That is why armor is not as efficient against Barbarians as it used to be. So now with the split attack I could maybe take out these two in one go. Or not. So they are drumming to keep the fatigue low. And as you can see, all armor is gone with one hit from this two-handed hammer. So a really nasty weapon. I have to get him into a position where he can fire from. Unfortunately, I don't have one right now, so I'm just gonna wait. Now Overhype really needs to get rotated out. Maybe I should move over here for a direct shot. Injury, as I said before, crippling strikes, really helpful against the Barbarians. And down he goes. So the Chosen with his two-handed axe, they really devastated my nimble Swordmaster. Now things are getting a bit dicey. That was a really good hit. And try to work on this Chosen. Now you just saw that this Chosen over here, he used his weapon to attack 2 times. That was really nasty. 26 hit points left. I'm bleeding for I think 20 damage a turn. So if I don't get patched up, 3 hit points left. Elmer will die next turn. Just gonna take the spot and throw down some attacks over here. No need to use Indomitable yet, I think. Okay, do you have a bandage? No, you don't. Okay, Siegfried has a bandage, I think that's him. He will move up and bandage Elmer next turn. I hope that works. Do we have somebody with very low armor? This guy. Smacked him. And just keep working on these. Let loose the Hound, just to throw down some additional attacks. And I have to mention that the Barbarians do have more units. For example, they do have a Tamed Unhold, and they also have a armored version of a Tamed Unhold, which can be very devastating. They come with a Beastmaster, and the Beastmaster will... where shall I move? I think I have to cycle somewhere. Down here. The Beastmaster will use his whip. So the Barbarians have a variant of the whip, and will use the whip to keep the Unhold tame. And once you kill the Beastmaster, the Unholds might change their allegiance and start attacking their own masters. That was a good hit. This Chosen is fleeing. That is very good. That's what I needed. If I can get Elmer, if I can get to him, this guy was bleeding out. If I can get to him, that might just save him. He's going for the headshot there. Oh, that was not very intelligent. I just ran around with Siegfried, but I should have gone here. So I think this is pretty much a dead Elmer. I think there's very little I can do. Very well done. This Chosen is down. That was my mistake, but still. And that was a hit on an unarmored opponent from the whip. So you see 2 bleeding stacks and a nasty injury, but he will bleed out next turn when he's fleeing. Is there any chance I can... Maybe I can save him? No, I can't. It's his turn before the other guy. Okay, never mind then. Good hit. Losses are to be expected when fighting the Barbarians, especially these. Okay, now it's his turn. I needed a bandage right now. This guy should have been there. Final kill, and I think that we have to say goodbye to Elmer. Down he goes. But this looks very good. Okay, I lost 2 guys so far. The drummer is already making a run for it. But he will get caught by the war dogs if I'm lucky. Move up and reload. As you can see, the Vigald is a very tight spot. The Barbarians do a lot of damage, and if you underestimate them or don't use your defensive abilities like I did, or I didn't, then they will cause a lot of damage. Just move up here. Just gonna wait to try to peel off his armor. like so. And I think I can do a lot of damage with the Shamshir here and maybe finish him off. Well done. 2 bleeding stacks. He will lose 20 a turn, I think. So now it's all about running down that last enemy. I think we won't do that right now. Well, I think that was a pretty impressive display from the Barbarians. We lost 2 guys, we got a lot of injuries, and you've seen that the type of weapons they use, and what I personally think is very strong against them is stunning them, but poor Elmer lost his shield early to their throwing weapons, and so he couldn't stun them anymore. Also, weapons like pickaxes or pickhammers are very good against their high armor stacks. And in the game you will usually encounter the thralls first and then see more and more sophisticated barbarian units the later the game goes. Now I can use the loot to show off some of the barbarian weapons. For example, the 2-handed skull hammer we have here over here. You have seen that this will usually one-shot a lot of the armors, like a 2-handed hammer that has a very high armor efficiency. We have the rusty warblade. That does really high damage and can attack 2 times in a row. I guess that players will use this weapon a lot. And we have the heavy rusty axe, which is pretty decent single target damage and also has a round swing ability. And these are some of the Weaver weapons, like a crude axe and a blunt cleaver. And here we have the very peculiar antler cleaver, which is a rather nice weapon, but it does rather little damage and is not very effective against armor. It's pretty much an early game weapon. So here you see you can of course loot and equip all the pretty neatly looking chosen armor, and you can use that to make your guys look very nice and get some decent equipment. So I hope you're looking forward to playing against the Barbarians yourself. The DLC will release on May 9th, that's next Thursday. And you can already wishlist it on Steam. You can find the link in the description.